G'day listeners, welcome to Bar Karate, the sailing podcast. Slightly delayed start this week. It's Monday morning, we're recording Aussie time, US evening, Sunday night. Our mate Brett Perry has finally hit the shore after his delivery. BP, welcome back, mate. Good to have you back.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'll tell you what, a week on the water has been good for the old head. It's sort of a bit of a rehab trip, if you like, but it was all good to get out there. So it was a long way, but 7 days of motoring in a TP, all good fun.
7 days of motoring in a TP, that's about the least fun you could have, isn't it?
Well, yeah, 3 hours on, 2 hours off. I got home last night to my nice warm bed and flung down for the 3 hours, woke up 2 hours later and thought, what am I going to do now? So I had a bit of a laugh to myself. I thought I'd put my wet weather gear on and go and stand in the shower for 2 hours, cold water. Then just to keep in theme of it all, I thought I'd go and lay in the bath and position my head directly under the tap and let it drip sort of every 30 seconds or so onto my forehead, just to make me feel like I was back on the boat. So, look, it was a long trip, but it was well worth it, and I think it paid dividends.
Good man. Well, good to have you back. We've got the whole team together because on the other line is Mr. Nick Bice. How are you, mate?
Top of the day, lads. Top of the day. Monday morning, though. I must admit. Let's not do Monday mornings again. After a big Father's Day, and saying that, I'm probably in better shape than I would have been last night for our normal Sunday night. I'll put it that way.
So, Bossy, everyone, it is yesterday was Father's Day in the Southern Hemisphere, and I'm going to say without our fathers and our mothers, of course, we wouldn't have been gifted this amazing life we get to lead. So a big shout out to all the parents out there. They do a fantastic job, and to you two blokes who are both fathers, congratulations.
Thanking you. It was a big day. Big day, good day with the kids.
It was good timing to get home on my behalf too, and enjoy the best part of half an hour before I absolutely crashed it.
I don't know if I've ever mentioned it on the program before that I occasionally do a bit of coaching, and I do a bit with the kids.
Right, here we go.
No, and just you see that.
By the way, BP, what was that? Crashed what? Crashed the truck?
No.
No, just the commitment to parents to getting kids into this sport. It's you gotta love it, mate. So thanks to my parents as well. They're great pair of people. But so,
do you teach tackers too, Jordan? Mine's lining up for a tackers too. So
I have
do
taught
that one.
Mate, you got to coach them all. You got to set the foundation early. Hey, guys. Our special guest today has a pretty amazing father, I must admit. His father's a bloke by the name of Charlie Dana, who is a former Commodore of the New York Yacht Club, was involved in the America's Cup. I think he got involved in the 77 America's Cup, brought his family up to Newport, then bought the Newport shipyards and taken it from... He bought it in bankruptcy, lost money for 5 years and turned it into this amazing company, the Newport Shipyards. So quite the man, old Charlie Dana, and his son... His youngest son is the bloke we've got as our special guest today, Mr. Nick Dana. Welcome, buddy.
Yes, welcome.
Hey, boys. How are you?
We're excited. We're excited to chat, mate.
And just a little one. The Newport Shipyard, finest shipyard in the world, I must admit. We've done plenty of time there on plenty of boats, so big thumbs up there, young man.
Well, I appreciate it. That was the blood, sweat, and tears of dad and brother and mother, and I'll pass it along to them.
Yeah. Well, before we get too much into your sailing, mate, you do have quite the amazing family. You guys seem to be pretty successful achievers all around. So it doesn't take much to go to Newport and be able to discover your family. You guys are amazing in that little town.
Yeah, it's a great town, and I've been here since I was about 4 years old, and my dad brought us all here and got into the shipyard 21 years ago, and has kind of brought us all through it, and it's been a great success story for the family and for the town. So,
was it that involvement in the shipyard and the fact that you're in that town that sort of created the opportunities to do what you've done?
Yeah, it was, when I was getting out of school and in high school, really, I was in the summers working on all the boats and learning what I could to race them and to get into the mechanical side of them. And obviously the shipyard was a great leg up in that and gave me a lot of opportunity to work on these boats. A variety of race boats that would come through, and I was able to hitch a ride on a few of them and kind of work my way up from there. And then I think it was in 08 coming into 08, Ken Reed and the first Puma Volvo Ocean Race team was based out of the shipyard, and I got a chance to be a nipper with them, to work with under your good mate Neil Cox.
We'll move on to that later. He taught you all his tricks, right?
Yeah, Neil the real deal. And
Casey Smith.
And Casey Smith, who I'm currently working with as well.
Big cheerio to him from BP.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just at his house earlier. But yeah, so, started with those guys and kind of got my foot in the door and worked away from there and never really looked back. But the shipyard was most certainly the foundation from which I started.
Yeah, so just for those who don't know your sailing background, mate, I'll just, before the boys jump in with all the questions, I'll just let people know. So you obviously did a bit of work as the shore crew in the Volvo. Then you went on and you were in the Alva Medica team. Then more recently, Vestas 11th Hour. You're a full part of the Comanche from day one with Comanche. So you did that whole program on the record-breaking runs. And now you're doing the America's Cup sailing for Team American Magic. So that's probably a fair summary of your resume?
Yep, more or less. I like the Team America stumble there.
And not forgetting also the run with Abu Dhabi also.
Yep. With the first Abu Dhabi in the 70 in the big bus. I did the media role on board with Ian Walker and the rest of that legendary crew. And that was a bit of a tough race, but great group.
Cool. All right, so let's rip into it. So let's just go first off into the America's Cup. I was just we can go back through the history, but for me, just the America's Cup. What are those things like to sail? Have you sailed your new boat yet?
No, nobody, as far as we know, has sailed the 75 yet. We're all getting very close to launching the 75s, but so far all the teams have only sailed their mules. We've probably had, what we estimate to probably be the most amount of days on our mule than anybody else, and we committed to a larger, almost to full size as to what the design brief allowed you to in your mule. And obviously there's delays in the build process from the central boatyard, and we're happy we committed to the larger scale mule to extrapolate our information for the 75. So we've been sailing that for, 6-7 months now, maybe a little longer, and gotten a lot of great information out of it.
Yeah, it's great information, no doubt. But obviously, last week I went to the show, we had quite a bit of a chat about the simulator. Do you guys have access to a simulator at all over there?
Yep, we have a simulator. I don't spend much time on it. If I do, I've crashed it. But now there is a simulator, and I think every team to a certain capacity has their own.
So what are the difficulties like you're discovering with this new sort of setup? So a monohull with the twin foils and the rudder, and then a soft mainsail without a wing. So what are the problems that you're starting to discover? Because you've done bugger all foiling beforehand, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. This is really my first foray into foiling. I've done little bits here and there, just screwing around on a friend's moth, but that's about it. Jumping on the boat, and maybe it was in Newport or when we went down to Pensacola was really my first time, actively foiling for the day. So that was a good experience for me. And then since then, we've gotten a lot of use out of that boat, and we figured out a lot of what it's going to take to make the 75 go. A lot of the complications are just the complexity of the systems, and specifically, the foil cant systems, and what it's going to take to make all of that happen on a very short race course. And then obviously, sail-wise, it being now a soft sail, as part of the mandate, you're essentially trying to create something that's a little bit less efficient wing. And that becomes a very complex system as well. The wing is actually something that's extremely efficient, just logistically difficult. And now we're finding that, to solve that was to use a soft sail, which has actually become more of a logistical challenge than a wing. But either way, each team's, probably going to approach that one very differently. We're interested to see how everybody, comes out of the box in their 75s with those. And then obviously, the workarounds for all the foil cant system.
Yeah, well, strap on the steel underpants when you jump in the 75, I reckon. That'll, if it's scary enough in your mule, imagine the 75. But just for everyone else to understand, what are the one design elements of the new boat, and what are you allowed to play with yourself?
Essentially, the D-spar is a fairly fixed design, and the foil cant system is supplied to you. So everything, if you think of, a normal canting keel boat, think of everything that cants the keel, the rams, the manifolds, the PLC, all of that stuff is supplied to you. So
Okay.
then once that comes, it's basically dropped on Casey Smith's table with a few other guys, and they got to put it all together and get it in the boat and make sure that it all fits properly and works properly, and, fleece out any of the bugs that are in the system, and then fix them within the design mandate.
It's going to be super cool to watch. We're all pretty excited to not only see you come out of the blocks, the new boats get launched, but also see these bloody things racing, which is going to be add a whole nother element to it, I'd say.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be full on. It's going to be full on for the grinders, no doubt, in terms of what these things will chew through in oil, and it'll be interesting having potential dial-ups and locking horns before a start.
For sure.
We can really only imagine how it's going to be.
Yeah, we're all. That's probably the biggest and most exciting part we're looking forward to. Just a question I have, Nick, is you mentioned you were new to foiling, but when you're out there, because we had Kyle Langford on a couple of weeks ago who discussed the 50, the AC 50. The actual foil side of things, are you finding them absolutely critical through the jibes, etc., and the tacks, as Kyle sort of found out as they got further into it? Because obviously these boats seem to be foil to foil jibes and tacks a lot. Well, from what we're watching, seem to be easier than the 50s at the start.
Yeah, so I hear a lot from the guys who were in the previous cups. Obviously, when we're sailing and through debriefs and kind of get a gist. I wasn't part of the last America's Cup, and so the learning curve's pretty steep for a lot of us who weren't a part of it. But you definitely understand that how paramount the foil shape and foil control system is, and who's in control of it. How you transfer that between guys, if you transfer it between guys, and what shape you're using for different days and different conditions. And I think it's probably just as key, if not more, in terms of shape and control as it was with the 50s.
So enough of the boring stuff, Nick. How about have you been on board during a big crash yet?
Yep. I've actually, aside from the three guys that are full-time, I switched off with me, and Clarkson and Sicho would be in a bit of a rotation, and I think I have the most capsizes. They remind me of, and yeah, we've had some good crashes. Probably a little bit more gentle than I thought that they would initially be, but you get comfortable, and that's when it bites you. And we had a good one about a month ago before we put that boat to bed for a bit, and it got real fruity.
So with these new designs with the monohulls, are they going to be more? Is there going to be more of a sort of dial up, more match racing start? Are they that manoeuvrability's in them when they're up on the twin foil setup? Then you would say get with the cats.
Well, to be honest, we still don't really know how it's going to be sailed in a race. All of these questions will be much easier to answer once the 75s are on the water. Yeah. Because we have no idea how they're going to react. We have a lot of guesses as to how forgiving they'll be, and relative to the correct amount of riding moment. But that's a lot of stuff that the our mule doesn't really tell you accurately. And I couldn't say for sure.
Are you excited though? Like, are you thinking, wow, I can't wait?
Yeah. I mean, I think all of us are pumped that, if you've been a part of a cup, kind of how the long slog of it goes, and everybody's been, especially the shore team and the designers have been just, hammering away on this thing for a long time. And I think a lot of the sailors are very eager to, try and shoulder the brunt of it now and get the thing up and ripping, and, hopefully perform as well as all these guys have built it.
So what's the program from here? Launch the big boat in Newport, and then do a repeat of what you did last year, or
potentially. We have a couple different options on the table, but yeah, it'll be a launch in Newport, and then we're still not sure. In November, we find out whether there's going to be more events, if there's going to be a Portsmouth AC World Series event after Cagliari, if there's going to be a Newport event, all sorts. So, stand by.
And I was just envisaging your big launch, and I'm guessing out the front of the New York Yacht Club there. Make sure she's tied to the dock so it doesn't fall over, eh? That'll be a bit embarrassing.
Well, I did work for Neil the Real Deal, and I'll be doubling up all springs.
Love your work.
Oh, dear. Just one more question from me on the cup stuff before we roll into your offshore work. How many freaking people are in your team, mate? Like, I just looked up on their website and just went through the team, and there's like 900. It's more people than China in that team.
There's a few. You got a lot of good guys. You could probably count them up on there. I'm not sure of the exact number though.
Yeah, I didn't. I see you got like your principals are Doug DeVos and Roger Penske. I thought he was a car racing guy.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing to have him on board. He is definitely brought it to the top of the racing level, and is an incredible, motorsport champion, and hopefully transfers a bit of his racing knowledge over to us. So it's been really cool to see.
Just with Penske, does he bring like a motivational role, or does he just bring some form of aura about him that I guess you guys respect from coming from that part of the world and what he's achieved as well? It probably adds to it.
Definitely an aura. When he walks into a room, you notice it, and I think if you watch any interviews from any of his drivers, they say the same thing. When he comes over the comm system during the races, which he still does. And, I think he's probably a bit of a legend in your part of the world as well. I think he just won the V8 Supercars.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he's crossed a lot of different platforms and been a proven winner. And
Yeah, he's a big part of Australian motorsport as well. But do you think that he's looking at this and going, "My God, these guys are absolutely nuts" as well? I mean, do you think he's got a certain level of fear going on?
I think so. I mean, every time he's been around, he's been very excited, or seemed to be very excited about it, and very motivational when speaking to him. I think he just gets fired up by any sort of racing, and watching the design process, the build process, and now implementing it on the water. He seems to be very, very happy with what's been happening.
It's funny because I've always, when I talk about sort of the high-level sailing with people, I've always tried for non-sailors, I equate it to a car racing team because we're both very technical sports and all the same elements are in both teams. So it's probably a really good fit. So it's good to see. I also see you're carrying a few people there. You've got Tyson Lamond in the team. So we've probably all known him since he was about knee-high to a grasshopper, which he's not much taller than now, but...
And we've all carried him since then also.
At certain points, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll pass it along to Yep, and I hope he's listening.
Yep.
He'll listen.
Yeah.
Only if he's allowed to. Well, he might have to ask Dean.
Oh, dear. Hey, so let's go offshore. Before we touch Volvo, I'd like to really get in on the old Comanche thing. You were in there. I actually found a video, a 20-minute thing of your record-setting attempt from New York to Lizard last night. My God, you look young in that video, mate. Have you looked at that lately?
No, I haven't, but I think I know what video it is. The Weather Channel did a special. I believe it was the Weather Channel.
Yeah, she was a cracker. How was that?
Yeah.
Talk about doing that. Like that sound like a lot of work went into making that run. What did you do? 5.5 days basically to cross the ocean, the Atlantic.
Yeah. I think at that point, was it 5 days, 13 hours? I think at that point it was over 24 hours of the previous record.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, that was. We talked about that the other day. A few of us, there's a few of the guys that were involved that are now involved with American Magic, and a lot of us believe that was our greatest ocean crossing that we had done. It was a really good group. They did it a bit different style. That was my first transatlantic record attempt that I've been a part of, and I guess in previous ones, what a lot of teams did was to kind of hole up in New York for 3 months and wait for the right weather window, which was usually, a pretty big system that they'd try and get on the front of and ride it out. This time Jim Clark and Ken Reed, who were kind of in charge of the process, went a little bit different, and they kind of went from a Rolodex of guys and got a giant pool of different sailors that had either sailed on the boat before or done, extensive Volvo or, offshore sailing, and put together a group, and then had a warning system. And, Stan Honey was the real key in that. I think that video highlights it. He had a real clear plan of where he wanted to be and what time of the season. Which was basically, the North Atlantic at its calmest, and to try and not get on, the head of a real ripping low, but one that was, solid enough to keep us out there and solid breeze, but not crazy sea state. And he managed to nail it. That was, I think the most wind we saw the whole trip was like 26 or 27 knots. We had a little bit of thunderstorm action in the beginning. And, we're becalmed for maybe close to an hour trying to jibe our way out of it. And we thought it was over, and then got ripping again, and that was it. It was just kind of foggy, flat water, 20 knots, just ripping the whole way.
Beautiful.
And,
is that the one Kenny missed out on after all that planning?
It was, that was the cookie crumbles from the planning standpoint. If everybody wasn't going to be on on a retainer waiting for 3 months, then it was based on who was available. And I think at that point, Kenny still was commentating for the America's Cup or something that was going on in Bermuda. And the great man, Casey Smith, became the skipper and went into the history books as the transatlantic record holding skipper, which we were all quite pumped about. And he definitely deserved it.
Fantastic. And so Comanche, 5.5 days across the Atlantic, then you jump back on a Volvo Ocean 65 and you're going around the world at 25 degrees.
Yeah, well, that's about the same as Comanche, but yeah.
Tell us a little bit about some of the highs and lows of the Ocean Race, or the differences also from the 70s to the 65s.
Well, it's funny, you get into these conversations a lot with people who have, sailed the 70s, but not really sailed a lot of the 65s, or sailed the 65s and not sailed the 70s. I was fortunate to be able to sail both. And, I think the 70s had a raw power that, we haven't really seen in many other boats, but they were pretty nosy and pretty wild. The 65s kind of offered a very similar off the breeze performance, and were a little bit safer and a little bit more bow out. And I really enjoyed the 65 racing. Being in sight, crossing oceans, and being in sight of almost the entire fleet is pretty incredible. The 70s, it just felt like everything was breaking all the time, which, for a lot of teams it was. And that's part of it. And, a lot of us love it because of that. And we certainly had breakages with the 65s, but a lot less. Thankfully we had such a brilliant central shore team that we were able to
to get
everything back up and running so quickly.
I was just about to move on to that, actually. But just to continue to blow a bit of smoke up your ass, actually, I must admit that the boats, the 65s you were on, they always came to the dock in the best condition. Like, you obviously, especially from a mechanical point of view, which you looked after.
Yeah. Well, there was an element that you'd come in and you'd hear stuff like that, and then you go, and then you'd hear a boat that got first or second was just completely shattered. And then you'd say, well, I don't know, did we not push it hard enough? And we should have come in more broken, or did we look after things and just didn't set well, and I think there's a little bit of both. But those boats definitely, they did what they're set out to do, and probably some of the best, well, I'd say the best racing of my life in those things.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that after all the NDT testing that was done to the boats when they arrived, there was no correlation between the most broken and the first over the line. So no dramas there.
Okay. Yeah, I hate to see what the NDT looked like in ours, but yeah.
Mate, with that, speaking of that team, so you were in with obviously Charlie and Mark, and you obviously would have known Charlie from growing up in Newport, and I'm assuming that's how you sort of got together. Are you very tied in with that team? Like, are you going back into that team once the America's Cup's finished, or is it sort of Charlie and Mark Steele alone, or how does it work?
Well, funny enough, I didn't actually really know Charlie at all. Before the Albumetica. I knew of him, and we had met several times, but never sailed with him. Just didn't really know him that well. But I emailed him and, said I was looking to join a team, and went sailing with them. And I think my first thing was maybe a transatlantic with him, and then, the rest is history from there. And Mark and Charlie, they're the head honchos of what they've created, and it's pretty amazing what they've done for being so young to now be organizing their third Volvo team and doing a build and, putting together yet another team with great sponsors very early on. They deserve a lot of credit, and I would love to go sailing with them. I speak with them frequently. Unfortunately, I can't jump out of this right now, but I hope they'll have me later, or at least I can jump on and help out where I can.
So, I mean, let's be honest, they're probably, in reality, the only team fully funded already. So,
I think there's at least one more, but yeah. Those guys are doing well.
And they've got the 2015 Hugo Boss turned up. Have you seen that? Or?
Yeah, I've just seen it from pictures here and there that have surfaced, and looks like they've done a very nice job of it. I think Charlie's going to be doing quite a bit of sailing coming up in it, and I think they've actually been out there doing a bit on it for the last month or so.
Yeah.
So look forward to seeing what those guys come up with in these boats. I think it's going to be very interesting, and I think the 60s are going to be a pretty exciting platform. Hopefully, can keep the breakages to a minimum.
Have you? Are they going to do the TJV, Mark and Charlie?
The rumor is they are, but I haven't gotten confirmation from either of them.
What about the new design for the boat they've got under build? Do you know any secrets on that you're willing to tell?
No, I don't. And I probably wouldn't tell you, but I actually don't know. And Charlie's probably trying to keep it away from my big mouth.
We could probably tell you actually. So.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Did you have one, BP? I can see a look on your face.
No, all good. I'm just enjoying the conversation, to be honest.
Well, let's take it down a funny path here for you, BP. This is going to trap you. I haven't warned you about this one. So there's a little bit of a build-up. Nick, I've got to ask a question. Who's more famous, you or your missus?
I'd say that my missus dwarfs me.
Dwarfs you?
I don't think, yeah.
We obviously try and do as much research as we can before we chat to people, just to make sure there's nothing we don't know. And for you, we had to basically go off memory because if you Google you, all that comes up is photos of you and your missus, and it just talks about who this hot sailor is. We don't actually get any details.
Diversion. I think I was on Survivor as well, according to that.
Yeah. I'll just explain.
I think I get a gist of where this is going. Yeah. So go on, keep going.
I'll just explain for the listeners. Nick is obviously, if you actually get to meet the guy, he's a wonderful bloke. And according to some of the women in the world, he's quite a hottie. And his missus was a finalist in season 24 of Survivor, and is now an actress, I think, on a TV show that we've never heard of, Southern Charm or something, in the States. Is that a correct assessment?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the reason we're going down this path, Nick, is not to embarrass you at all, but to embarrass BP, because BP was very nearly, except for, I can't remember what you had to go and do, bud, but you had made it to the final roll call for Australian Survivor.
Yes. This is the truth. Hey, Nick, what do you reckon about this one? So actually, no one knows about this. I think I've only told my mum and my stepfather. So there you go, and it's now out. But hey, listen, if I'm able to have a chat,
I'm not your stepfather,
maybe. Yeah, well, that's it. But if I could have a chat to you, Mrs. Maybe she could get a crazy Australian yachty or the next American version of it, because I got through to.
So you're still trying to get on that island.
No, mate. I did it for a laugh. To be honest, I applied just for a laugh, and it came back. Yeah, and then I had a live Skype interview with the lady, and I rambled on about my sailing and my in particular my Southern Ocean antics, and had her in tears, basically not for laughter, but because of what we went through, and made it to version episode, what do you call it, audition 3. And then was sort of saying to myself, I couldn't possibly go any further. This is getting beyond a joke. And then they called me back and said, can you please be there for audition 4 for the final audition? But unfortunately, I had to be in another country for work. And I had to say to them, can I put it to another time frame? And she said, unfortunately, this is it, make or break. So I had to make a big decision, Survivor or work, and I had to choose work.
Mate,
Okay.
you would have been the next person with 700,000 Instagram followers. Just imagine it.
Well,
Oh,
you
look.
can make a living off that. That's for
Well,
sure.
for sure, it was. But it was quite funny when we decided let's get you on board for Bar Karate, because I didn't realise your status with your missus, and it was very funny. That created the chat with Jordan and Bicey was very funny. I did actually tell them, hey, by the way, boys.
Yeah. She was. She made it to the finals too. She nearly won the thing. She's a trooper. I didn't realize that show. When she first told me about it, I didn't realize how actually real it is to a certain degree. I think she had lost in 28 days. She had lost like 31 pounds, which is quite a bit, and ended up in the hospital after. Pretty sick for a while. They had bad water, pretty bad malnutrition.
Really?
I had no idea.
I wouldn't have believed that.
No.
Crazy.
But yeah, crazy.
Oh,
But
I
you-
guess it is called Survivor.
Yep.
Well, she's met you now, so she's happy. So life's as good as it can be for a young lady. So that's good news. I'm intrigued as to how they would have edited your character, BP. Whether they would have made you a villain or a good guy. I'm intrigued. I'm just trying to think of it.
I don't know, but I would have liked to have had my guitars there on the beach doing a bit of entertaining, having a bit of a laugh, talking about yotting. Yeah, come on.
The entertainer.
Maybe naked and afraid was more appropriate.
I'm just trying to imagine the bikini you'd wear, BP.
Yeah,
Go
good
on.
one.
All right. But, Nick, let's roll on. We've got a couple of things we like to talk about. We just rolled through a few discussion points, and we thought we might just include you on a couple because you're pretty close to a few of these things. So do you mind hanging around a couple more minutes?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. We'll start right in the wheelhouse. We did mention on Secret Pro that there'll be an announcement from the Ocean Race, and it did come out the week that Aarhus in Denmark has announced itself as a stopover. Did you guys catch that? Yep.
Yep. I saw that. I was happy to see that there was a stopover and not a blow through like it was last time.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
tease.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a good one. So clearly what's happening with the Ocean Race, I can say this much, is that they're going to be announcing port by port as it's locked away. I think they'd like to announce it all a bit fairly soon, but obviously Aarhus were pretty proud of the fact that they're going to be a stopover, and they really wanted to get it out there, and so this is the pathway. And I think one or two others will happen like that. But it's good to see, as Nick just said, Aarhus, fantastic sailing destination, Aarhus. It's a good town too. Okay, Bicey, I can see you looking confused. Let's put you into a happy place. You've done a bit of research. We obviously just mentioned before, Nick, we mentioned that Charlie and Mark have bought the old Hugo Boss. The new Hugo Boss has come out, and we've seen the foils on that thing, which look like probably 15-foot long seaboards. Bicey, you've been doing some research.
Well, someone's either got it wrong or someone's got it right, put it that way, because they're completely different to anything that we've seen come from the stable of Verdier or Juan K at this point with their new boats, or VPLP for that matter. But during the research, and something I picked up on the other day, here is a direct quote from Alex Thompson. Thompson says the idea for his foils was fleshed out while sitting in a car with Pete Hobson, his design manager, Alex Thompson Racing, and Andy Claughton, who used to design for the America's Cup. We were waiting for the ferry, and I'm trying to explain to Andy what I mean, and he's drawing the foil in the condensation on the car windscreen, Thompson recalls. We then went home, Pete drew it up, and we sent it over to VPLP. Now, okay, everyone, while we're listening here, imagine you're standing on the front of Alex's boat and you're drawing with your fingers on the condensation of the window the shape of those foils, which are basically two seaboards against each other. What do you see? I see a pair of boobs. They weren't drawing foil. Now, again, put the mast in there, and what do you see? It's a bloody cockaballs.
Yeah.
So,
I got a question there that you guys might be able to answer. Are they reversible? And if so, how the hell would you do it at sea?
yeah, they'd be a solid 250 kilos each, I would think, going off.
Imagine that would be difficult solo.
Extremely. So that would have been an element for sure, with Alex breaking his fall in the last edition of the Bondo. So possibly yes. But man, I just, it's a complete different path that Alex has gone down before, and it's a complete different path of all the other boats. So it's going to be pretty cool to start seeing these boats yachting. And it's just a whole new element. It's a good time to be in the yachting game for sure.
Nick, when you look at them, those foils, have you seen the photos, mate?
Yeah,
Well,
I saw a couple of the photos last week.
Or is Bicey's description good enough for you?
Yeah, it's funny that comes to Bicey's mind.
So when you look at those falls, what's the first thing you think of when you see those? Like, from a performance perspective.
Well, we couldn't really tell where they ended in that one photo where you see it, just ahead of the beam, looking back. You kind of see, you can just see the board going under the water, and then you kind of lose it. It doesn't look like the end of it, so we don't even know to what, how long they really are. But that was the only thing that we could really come up with very quickly, was that it must be for, obviously there's a design element to the lift of it, but the reversible factor from how many boards these guys break, and Alex's breaking record, and I think there's got to be an element of that, and then which begs the question of how the hell do you do it once you get into that situation.
You can't imagine a spare one stowed on board, can you?
No. But you can, if one of those breaks, if you have a foil go down, then with those boats, the way they're moving now, you're done. You're out of the race if somebody's on a good foil and you're not. And
especially Alex's boat's quite narrow compared to the rest, so he loses all form stability.
Yep.
When he loses a foil. So, but there's no better place to store your spare foil than just the other side.
Yeah.
Put it in the in the slot.
But I mean, if you look at that foil though, you see that it's going to generate a lot of lift, right? It's clearly going to generate a lot of lift and riding moment from the foil, but I can't see it providing much lateral resistance. Like, I wonder how much that's going to slide sideways. Like, do you see anything that provides lateral resistance in that design? I can see lift galore. The thing will fly high and fast.
I guess if the foil rotates enough, it's going to generate some lateral resistance.
Definitely some, but I still think she's going to slide. We'll have to see, but that's just my gut reaction.
I've got heaps of big America's Cup words to throw at this. I don't know what they mean, but I've got tons of words for it. Right. Laminarity. Just keep throwing that one out in the middle of a. Love that one.
Hey, we need to write a few of these down, mate, because we haven't mentioned this to the listeners yet. But there's a guy in Australia. He's like your granddad. He's got this most beautiful talking voice, and he's a professor of linguistics. And everyone we put onto him just loves listening to him. He explains language and words and where they come from. And he's an old sailor back in the day, and he's keen to come on Barcarati. He's got a huge show himself. Like, he's the most popular guy in Australia. Bicey will confirm. And so we're going to have him on. He's agreed to come on as a guest on Barcarati, but we're going to build it so people know who this bloke is. And some of those words, we'll drop that. So just you'll have to write them down for us, mate. So just, what was that one again? We need to write. What was it, Nick? Again, hit us with it.
Laminarity.
Laminarity.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I'll write them down in one of our meetings when I'm not looking stupid.
Just make out you're taking notes, and you just popping the words.
Yeah.
Oh, you're taking notes today, Nick. Oh, that's.
Yeah, we have a WhatsApp group on words we don't know, and we circulate them during the debrief sometimes.
Oh, dear. Tyson would be a strong contributor.
No, Tyson knows them all.
Oh, no, I'm only stirring. He's pretty great. We get on great, don't worry. All right. What did I want to go on to? Let's just quickly talk about coming up. Just a quick one. We've got one or two other ones we'll keep you in for, Nick. Barts Bash is on in a week and a half, or just over a week and a half. So just thought I'd bring that up. So you guys would all have known Bart, I assume. Yeah, BP, come in.
Yeah, look, I managed to spend a bit of time with Bart, and I just wanted to say that out of, in the industry, when you're working with people, sort of people stand out and highlight. And he was one of those guys that, you'd be out the back rigging away and, doing your job, and he'd come out and ask how you're going and what was going on, and was generally interested in what was happening. And that's just Bart that I remember, and I guess that's how everyone remembers him. So yeah.
Yeah, so the largest sailing race in the world, and we'll actually cover it at the time and find out the exact stats, but it's just gathering huge momentum for the Andrew Simpson Trust, which is fantastic. But yeah, I was lucky enough to sail with Bart and Ian Percy and Ben Ainsley at one point there, but the trouble was they kept getting their bloody gold medals all tangled up in the grinders. We're a bit back heavy.
Did you get to know Bart, Nick, at all? Or did he come across your path?
No, I had met him years ago, but I didn't know him. But obviously, a lot of the guys that I work with now and have in the past, can't speak more highly of him. And I think the outpouring of support and volumes of people that show up to these events and promote them just speaks to the respect that he had in the industry and as a family man and as a sailor in general.
Yeah, so gold and silver medalist in the star class. Barts Bash is on in 19 countries at 191 venues on the 15th of September, so we'll all get out on a boat and be part of it. And the money does go to bringing in people into our sport and benefiting everybody in the sport. So it's a great one to be involved in. And, I don't know anybody that's ever said a bad word about him. I remember when he died, it was just horrible. All right, last one we'll keep you in for, Nick, so you can go and get your meal on or whatever. The logo's changed on our site for those who are fans of the bar karate. Nick, you haven't caught on. There's a few things that we've got ongoing at the moment. I'll tell you a couple just so you know. Bar karate, for one, is the actual bar karate is the act of describing your race with your hands in the bar at the end of the day. That's what bar karate is, in case you were unaware. Two, we have a belief here that you could crowdfund an entry into the ocean race. All you have to do is find a cause to get behind. And we've decided that the cause is redheads, the Ginger Challenge. We think we could get some... there's enough redheads who have been harshly treated in the world that would put the money in to bring a red-headed boat in. Are you Ginger in any way, mate? Do you qualify?
No, I have a soul.
Great answer.
The red mist. I'd be a. I don't know if you could get more angry offshore than that.
Has been discussed. So it'd be quite interesting to see if the team can stay together. But that's it. The Ginger Challenge. And then of course our logo, bar karate. We are just doing this for fun. And it's turned into being way bigger than we thought. And we've been approached. We haven't bothered talking to anyone, but we've been approached by sponsors, and we've been approached by a brewing group. And Bossy and I travelling through Malaysia last week, driving next to each other, chatting away, and we decided that rather than sponsor us, could we not go into partnership and actually start bar karate lager, have our own beer?
mate.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good idea. What were you boys up to in Malaysia?
Drinking beer.
Taste
Doing
test.
a worldwide taste test.
Worldwide taste test.
Can't you work this out? I mean, this is where it all comes from.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
No, we were.
No, I think that'd be a great idea. I think you'd have plenty of patrons, that's for sure. I think the kickoff should be at the Customs House at the end of this year.
Oh yeah, there you go. So you're coming down.
That would be a good. That would.
Yeah, I'm trying to squeeze it in. Otherwise Naka gets pretty disappointed, so you don't want to upset the big fella.
Congratulations. Well, this would be great.
I tell you what would be a fantastic goal for Bar Karate Lagerwood to be sitting in the front bar at the New York Yacht Club there. What do you reckon about that one, boys?
We've got a few hopes to get through to get there, I reckon.
No, we aim straight for the top in Bar Karate. You know that.
We know a guy. Whose dad used to be the Commodore.
Yeah, well, there is a reason for bringing it up.
Hey, to go to Nick's point though, he's right. Customs House is actually probably a great launching pad, or we'll probably be up and running before then. Given we've already had the meeting, Nick. We don't hang around. Meeting happened this week. There's a logo going up on side. There's a bit of an experiment, so we are going down that pathway. And I must admit, there is a fair. We do chat a lot to the organisers CYCA, and I think they're quite keen on bar karate. Maybe we might not be able to sail. We might have other duties. They're big fans of bar karate down there.
Fantastic. Then you guys can get on the start line like the Channel 7, but
that's it.
Get right up in there.
Get right in your way. The bar karate boat, yeah. Straight through.
I'd be looking forward to when we actually got to get off just after the start, obviously, because we'd be part of the media side of things. We'd have to all jump off. That would be hilarious.
I'm sitting on the bloody headland watching from there, boys. That's it.
Yeah.
No jumping off boats for me. Oh, dear. All right. I think, hey, mate, I think we're probably going to roll on to a couple of things that might be a bit boring for you, so we might let you go. I really appreciate you coming on board. Hopefully we didn't make it too hard for you.
No, it's good speaking to you, boys. Hopefully to see you guys soon, maybe even for the Hobart, for a bar karate lager or pilsner, whatever you've chosen.
Oh, yeah.
We've got we've still got a fair bit of taste testing.
Pretty sure that with the upcoming AC stuff that we might have you on the top of the list to retouch on a few things, eh?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, nice work, Nick, and keep up the good work, and look forward to hearing about your adventures in the future.
Absolutely. Good to hear from you, boys. Take it easy.
See you, mate.
Cheers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boys, I tell you, we got a good one here. Thanks heaps to Nick Dana. He's a great man. So if you do bump into him, just pay him the respect and have a chat to him. He's a super nice guy and talented sailor. He's going to be around for a long time, so good work. We have a great question from one of our punters. Did you guys see that on the Facebook page?
Yes.
Yes?
Very good.
Mr. Grant Pellew,
yep.
Grant Pellew. Now, he starts off poorly. Come on, boys. It's not all about beer. Flame White, you bloody idiot. Of course.
It is all about the beer.
Anyway.
Now, hang on. Grantley Pellew, you may be harking Australia, but let's just come on.
But back to sailing and an Olympic 470 question. So this is a really good question. We have pretty much dominated the men's 470 class for over a decade. First we had Wilmot Page, then we had Belcher Page, and finally Belcher and Ryan. Our skipper and crew have changed over the years without the results changing. While all these sailors are great sailors in their own right, for us to dominate the class over these years, there has to be something more. Boats, sails, coach, what is it? The main question I really have is why do the women's 470 sailors not have the same success? Surely they would be sharing the data between the men and the women. The women have to have the same level of skill, one would think, so why have we not taken the same men's program over to the women's program to get the same results. Do you want me to can I just put down a couple of key points before we debate it?
From the super coach, of course.
Yeah, okay. So, Grant, fantastic question. We love that. Love this debate. First off, you forgot about Tom King and Mark Turnbull in 2000. So they were part of the program. And then, of course, so let's just explain. So we had Tom King and Mark Turnbull won the gold in 2000. And then we roll on to where we're talking Wilmot and Page, which was gold 2008, then Belcher and Page 2012, Belcher and Ryan silver in 2016, of course, a huge number of world champs on the back of it. At the same time in the women, we've had gold in 2000 with Jenny Armstrong and Belinda Stoll, and they got second in the Worlds in 2000 and 2001. And then Elise Richichi and Tess Parkinson won gold in 2008 and were third in the Worlds then. And then just last night, I watched Nia Jewett and Monique de Vries just get pipped for the gold in the World Cup event in Enoshima. So that's the area. So just flesh that out a bit. So do you guys have an answer?
Well, it doesn't sound as though they're going too bad, right? And I'm sure the Olympic program is as such that they are sharing data and what have you. But in saying that, I was interested to hear about the test event that Belcher was talking that they were trying out some new things. Surely they've tried enough, right? There's not much left to try.
No.
But
so what's the reason? Because if you look at the Worlds, it's just been non-stop Australia winning the Worlds in the 470, whereas not in the women.
I mean, does it come down to the boat itself? I mean, is it the actual, the ergonomics of the boat a bit different, weight wise, et cetera? Is there seems to be something obviously there, but ultimately you look at the guy and cruise over the years, and it's sort of, as Nick just been saying, it's still got our females have still got a fair share of results. It just seems to be shared out a bit more, I guess, between the nations in the women's.
Well, so I'll just talk a bit from personal experience. So Victor Kovalenko is the head coach for Australian Olympic team, and he's also the men's 470 coach. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Victor, when he joined Australia, came to Australia in 97 and quickly put those two teams. He was coaching both the men and the women through the late 90s into the 2000s. And he was split with those coaching roles. Back in those days, I knew Pagey. I sailed against Pagey a lot. So I knew Malcolm and his brothers really well. And if you had said back in those days who was going to be the champion Page, it was probably Dave Page. They're all good sailors, great family of sailors, great bunch of blokes. And then so Pagey went from racing 5.0s and doing a bunch of other things and joined into the Kovalenko plan with Wilmot. And just everything stepped up. To me, I think
that's the difference right there.
It's Kovalenko.
Yep.
It's clearly Kovalenko. And I'm 100% certain. I mean, not 100%. I can't be 100% certain, but I'm very, very close to 100% certain that not all information is shared. So there is one boat getting everything, and then the rest of the boats are getting something, is what's happening.
So at what stage did Victor stop effectively coaching the females?
I don't know exactly the date, and I'm not part of the Australian Sailing Olympic team, and I don't want to say anything that's negative about that team, and I'm not saying it's negative. I think that we have an amazing bunch of sailors, and to see young Nia and Monique come up just last night, I was watching all the finals. Go on, Barrett.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just to see that team doing so well, It's great. So I think that they're getting 95%, and the last 5% is not shared. And even if you're a male team, if you're not the team, I don't reckon you're getting everything.
I think even at the last 1%, if it's only that, that may just be the difference. Because that they say the greatest competition in sailing is the 470 Olympics. So,
you reckon?
Well, certainly producing some of the best yachties. Certainly no doubt about that. So it must be extremely tough right at that pointy end of the fleet. So maybe it is just that little 1%, but Victor, like you say, I think plays a big role.
Any other reasons we can think of?
Negative. Well, as I said a second ago, can it be ergonomics of the boat?
Yeah.
Provide that they're losing that 1%. I don't know. And is the 1% difference between, Pagey or the gold medal guys different between the guys that are not quite the gold medal guys? Is it ergonomics? Is the whole that that add up to results like that? And I think that's where we're going with this.
He definitely picks the crews. Like he knows exactly who he wants on those boats. He knows exactly what body shapes he wants. He has a template. This is Victor I'm talking about. He definitely has a template. They have a development program with their sails. They've done a lot of things. Obviously, the US team, with Pagey going over and becoming the head coach over there, I'm intrigued to see. He hasn't got the same number of sailors, so I'm intrigued to see how he's going to do and if he's going to be able to bring some of that up. Because, if you've sailed under Victor, then you obviously know everything. But I think you're sworn to...
I was just about to say that, after years and years and years being coached by someone, surely that rubs off. And, that is a good thing for Malcolm. And we'll wait and see how it all pans out with that one.
Well, we'll touch on that a bit more. Well, actually, I won't step over what happened in Enoshima just yet, but I think that's the answer that we're willing to give, Grant. And, mate, I've got to say, we love your support as well. He's been a promoter of us, and so we're pretty happy to see him putting questions up and everything. So thanks heaps, mate. We might actually do a bit more with Grant, I think, because he's got a lot of information to share as well.
He's good man, old Grantley.
Yeah, cool. All right. One thing we didn't touch on, BP, you just sort of put it down as a note to touch on. I see I mentioned it's sort of Greta and Boris. We talked about that once more. You had Greta Thunberg. She's made it to New York. Now, I'm not really too worried about that. But Boris on Melitza, he's about to do... In fact, I think he's just left. They're going to go for a record crude run on an Imoca 60 from the New York to Lizard, trying to set that. There's a weather system there right now. They're going to try and break that record.
Oh, cool. Well, Greta, she's the most famous person in yachting at the moment.
I wonder how she went.
No, to be for sure, there's going to be some sort of story, and it would have been heavily documented. You would have thought.
We'll find out. Yeah,
we're bound to see it, but I mean, regardless of what you think, she is doing a huge job, and she's a family household name in Australia.
Crazy, isn't it?
So imagine the rest of the world. I mean, I saw a debate just on the ABC the other night about her, and I mean, she probably cops a little bit harshly, but she's spreading the word and she's doing it. But good luck to Boris. Off subject a little bit there, but Boris and his guys. I think Alex Thompson holds the current crude record, or he got maybe it was the 24-hour he got last time. But good luck to Boris.
I mean, that's the future. Yeah. So the crude. Yeah. I reckon.
Sorry.
Go on, BP. Say, mate. Sorry, we're trying to.
No, mate. I'll just touching back quickly. I think this whole Greta thing has just created a storm in general across the board. But I think the biggest thing everyone's waiting to see is how she gets home. That's.
I heard she was going to hike.
Yeah, paddle the Northwest Passage.
Dear.
Just to really slam it home.
Well,
no, but to Boris, yeah, look, I think, as we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, sailing's the winner here. And, you know, Boris has gotten hold of that little bit of media there. And it's now become mainstream, as Bicey just said. And everyone is sort of aware that these Amoka boats exist. I'm pretty sure there's, 90% of the population don't even realise the yacht race that goes across the Atlantic, and that's how it is.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, good point. So, well, if you're watching, if you're listening, then keep your eye out because there's a run going across the Atlantic right now. So that'll be, well, unless they didn't leave, the weather window closed, I don't know, but they were planning on leaving this morning. So, any Secret Pro news?
It's a little bit quiet. I'm expecting a bit out of the Maxi Worlds coming up, which starts yesterday in Porto-Cervo.
Oh, yeah.
But the big news, there's a little whisper, there's going to be some big news coming out of the cruising world in the next week or two.
Ooh.
So we've got to, we'll keeping our ear to the ground on that one.
Do I know that bit of news?
Yep, you certainly do. You'll be updating your LinkedIn profile very shortly.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, I actually reckon I saw the Secret Pro in that documentary I watched last night on the old Comanche going across the water. I reckon I saw one of our Secret Pros hiding in the back of shot there at one stage. Won't give anything away because there was plenty of boats on Comanche, blokes on Comanche. A-Class Worlds were held in Weymouth. Our mate BP's going to give us a full rundown, but our mate Paul Larson came 18th.
Yeah, well, he's probably not too happy with that result, but unfortunately had to drop a last place and carry a 31st. He, I don't know if anyone saw the incident. He basically was starting race 2 and managed to pick up the anchor line on the start boat. And there was some swear words.
Oh, really? What, at the anchor line?
Yes, he was swearing at the anchor line. He was swearing at the anchor line. So...
it rhymed with anchor anyway.
Yeah, well, there's probably a couple of other explicitories there. Look, he was very disappointed, obviously, and it's one of those things that happens in yacht racing, so commiserations go out to him for that. But his results across the board were fantastic, so I guess he could take that out from it. His first Worlds in a foiling cat, so a foiling A-class. So anyway,
yeah.
Moving forward, there was 2 classes. You had the foiling and the classic, obviously.
Yep.
And basically just going to the foiling, which is it's getting stronger and stronger, obviously. Misha Hernsk, always in the top, sort of figures in the top. Obviously, when Ashby shows up, he battles it out with him, but Misha's taken it out with David, sorry, I can't get his last name. Dave from New Zealand has come in second place. Dave Shaw, that's it, yep. So...
who was in third?
Oh, yeah, I was just about to get to this one. I've got it. You ready?
Yeah.
Chimo Chus Bendik.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
From Poland.
Sorry, what was his last name?
Bendik.
Don't be.
It's a setup. It's a setup again, you blokes.
Uh,
What about the best place Aussie? Was there any Aussies well placed there?
Yeah, mate. So we've got James Wiersbrowski. Now, I had a bit of a laugh here. He came in an 8th, so good on him and great effort. But on the beer theme, James Wiersbrowski. I'm just loving what we're doing with Australian names. We're trying to keep up with the trend of things, and that's what we come up with. Where's Dabrowski?
That's a great one. Well done, BP. High five yourself.
Yes, I just did.
Poke yourself in the eye.
Should be outlawed from the game altogether.
Yeah. In the Aussies, the classics, it was all Aussies, wasn't it? The non-foilers?
Yes, top 3, first, second and third. So well done to those guys. Fantastic effort. So, go Australia.
Vandenbergers and Scotty Anderson. All right, so the TP52s were on. Did you guys watch much of that? I found it really good to fall asleep to, I hate to tell you. I kept falling asleep.
It was that time of day, I guess.
Yeah, for us.
But given you go to bed at 7:30 at night,
that's true.
You're up quite late watching the start.
Yeah.
They
and my buddy,
Germans took it out.
Yeah, my buddy Jenny Tulloch doing the commentating too. She did a good job.
Yeah, she did. The big story of the Worlds, Provetza dropping its stick on the first day, so that they but they came back and managed to get on the water on day 3, and came back pretty strong with a 3.73.13. So they would have been right at the top of the leaderboard if they'd stuck in there. And I think we've got plans to hear a bit more about that in the coming weeks.
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously at Buckarati during the week we try and work out what we're going to do, and I thought that the seeing the mast go down in race 1 and then to be back on the water in day 3 is from everyone who's been involved in shore crew work is a logistical nightmare, considering the mast was in Valencia and had to get across to Palma, so you've got that to put to play. But then getting it all together, everyone from the rigging right through to the to just getting the cranes and stuff sorted and having it all there. I mean, Bryce, you were involved with that sort of stuff before, and you know exactly how much is involved in that. And that particular effort is probably one of the best I've seen. And that's why I thought it would be good to try and get Chris Hoskins. So we'll see how we go if we can get him next week, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a good story for sure.
Well, what makes it even more amazing is I actually went through the scorecards, and that performance after they put up their old stick, and they had a lot of hassles getting it up from what I heard, just like borrowing cap shrouds and all sorts of stuff because they couldn't get the right length. They had the best scorecard for those races they sailed. Like if you looked at their scorecard, they had the best scorecard.
Oh, yeah. They won the back half of the regatta, for sure.
Yeah.
They did a bow becking. Won the back half of the race.
All right.
It goes a lot to say when the pressure's off, doesn't it? You know, all of a sudden things change. It's like everything. They've done all the hard work and they know they can't win the regatta, so they go out and sail. And bang, 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 it all happens for them.
All right. It does make you wonder about how much effort you have to put in sometimes, because the more relaxed you are, sometimes the better you go. It's so true, isn't it? You put so much effort in, and then the ones you do relax for, boom, it all falls.
Yeah.
I think it's across the board with everything, isn't it?
Yep. We don't have much left to go, boys. We'll just touch on Enoshima, the World Cup in Enoshima. So we had the week before, we had the test event, and then we had the World Cup event, and the medal races were over Saturday and Sunday. I don't know if you guys caught that. Do you want me to give you a quick flash on what probably people should have a look at?
Go for it.
Okay.
You're the Olympic king.
Olympic king, that's it. If you're going to go and watch any of it, go and watch the NACRA 17 finish. That came down to the jibe, the last jibe at the finish. So a jibe on the anchor line into the finish decided the gold medal there. It was Enoshima. There was a bit of wind on the Saturday, a bit of wind and a fair bit of waves coming in. So it does highlight what a god-awful boat the NACRA 17 is. I'm not sure if I'm going to upset anyone there, but I don't really want to. But
how do you really feel? How do you just in blatant terms?
Those guys are working hard to sail that thing, I tell you. So anyway, it came down to the absolute last jibe right at the finish there. So that was pretty exciting. In the 470 women, the Aussies went into the final day with a pretty good lead. The only threat they had was Spain, and Spain had to get a boat between them and the Aussies to beat them. And they raced the crap out of each other right around the race, and it was super light winds on the Sunday, super light winds. And I'll say both the Australian men and women's 470 teams weren't very good in their match racing roles, but they held on, the Aussies held on, and then at the last jibe, they go jibe, they run downwind, and then they jibe to reach across to the finish, so they all pull out in a straight line. On the last jibe, the Spanish just crept in front of the US team, and the US team jibed behind them, and then the Australian team, and so the Spanish won the gold. So that's quite a good one to watch. There was an awful lot of tacking in the 470 fleets in very, very light winds. Almost like I wonder why they're tacking there, unless they're trying to accelerate the boat.
Very I'd imagine so.
Yeah. And the other one to watch is the 49er men's. The 49ers capsize on the last run, saw the Germans blow the gold, and the youth POM team, the second POM team, step up. So that was pretty good. And then the single-handers like the Finns and the Lasers were in the afternoon on the Sunday. No racing. The wind dropped out to nothing. So, yeah. But
there was some cracking footage of the Finns during the week in the heavy air.
Yeah. They were the only boats.
They had
Go on, BP.
They had their hands full just getting around the track, but a lot of pretty stoked boys after the end of that.
Yeah.
And most that information's on the World Sailing site, sailing.org. And they have a good list run through. You can go get into your SAP analytics as well. So it's a nice, good site to navigate.
Cool. All right.
Just
Sorry, BP, I fired on the trigger there. What's up, mate?
Oh, no worries, mate. I just quickly, before we leave, just wanted to mention the J70 Worlds. So 75 boats. So we have one Australian in that one. So we'll keep an eye on that, obviously, with the Grimesy, Lammy and Murray Jones, etc. Reg Lord. So we'll keep an eye on them next week.
Well, that's where we were going to, round the grounds. So that's what we were going So you started it off perfectly. So good work. So, yeah, one team, it starts literally right now. Royal Torbay Yacht Club. Have you guys looked at their website? It's difficult. So it's going to be a hard one to follow, that one. But we will. There is, as you say, one Aussie team, but predominantly UK teams, I would think. There's a few Europeans and a few US teams in there. Good little battle, I
just had a chat to Lammy this morning. They had their invitation today, so they got out there and got 16th. So got around the track, but he said they'll be struggling to finishing the top half. So the owner is new to sailing, but to say that and get a 16th invitation, we'll see how they go. I'm pretty stoked Lammy will get, pretty confident Lammy will get them around.
Cool. The big one, though, this week is, Bicey, what's the big one for you? It's pretty obvious.
Maxi Worlds. This week.
It's going to be...
Keep an eye on that. 8 different classes, including the Wallies and the super yachts, which is just phenomenal to see. If you can get some vision of coming down Bomb Lane in that big Mistral is a fantastic day. And we were lucky enough to be there last year, Jordan.
Yep.
Watch a bit of it and enjoy a bit of time with the boys and girls, for that matter.
Indeed. We'll watch that with interest. Some great footage will come out of that. So if you are through the week, just hunt the pages and just try and see it, because it'll be just amazing. Some beautiful footage, cool looking boats. All right, so we got a great question come through. If you want to contact us, just reach out to us at Barkarati or on the Facebook page, and just make contact, and we'll get back to you. Rate us. We've had some amazing ratings. We do get a lot of feedback from the listeners. Again, we just started this for fun, but it's gone gangbusters. We are truly touched by...
I've never learnt so much about sailing in my life.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's the exact truth. Talking about more different fleets and more different people. Who's that guy? Who's that guy doing some research? Oh, that bloke. Yeah, I've met him or her before. And righto. That all makes sense now. But as I said to you boys earlier, I was at the CYCA last night. They had an event on there. Place was packed, and I had 3 or 4 people come up to me again. Very similar to Hamo when I was up there walking around, and it's reaching out, and I think that's what we need to keep pushing for.
Yeah.
Just add beer to it and imagine our reach then.
Oh,
yes.
I can't wait. We're so excited at the moment. So, so we're just happy talking about sailing, and everyone seems to like it. So thank you very much for that. If you do, just rate us, because it puts us up on the algorithms and makes it easier for people to find us. So. The quiz question, this will get some controversy going, because there were so many questions about it, like which sort of this and what that. I don't really care. It's just for you to go and find out which is heavier, an elephant or a blue whale's tongue. The answer I'm going to give is most elephants weigh less than a blue whale's tongue, right? And if you're unhappy with that answer, then just send money and I'll know, all right?
Yeah, the good part is we haven't actually got any money yet, so it's obviously everyone's pretty happy.
Yeah, that's true.
I keep heading it off at the pass.
Yeah, or just not willing to send money.
No. All right, last question before we sign off. Anything from you guys?
No.
All clear from my side.
It's good to have you.
Well, a nice week to be back in Oz, and hopefully next time I'm back in Oz, I'll be recording from a new studio.
The Pleasure Dome.
We might have to actually the Pleasure Dome. Toby's pleasure. We might actually have to have an inaugural recording.
Yeah. I love it. How all good for you, BP? You just need to get your land legs back, mate.
Yes, mate. Just got to get that all sorted. Got some good news on my side of it. We've got one little sports boat that'll be in my hands this weekend. So some future sailing dates will be lined up with you blokes on that one.
Cool.
And the last little shout out to Brett Shivers, who just did a recommendation and some nice words on Facebook. So here for him.
Yeah, good man. It's very kind of him. All right, so the quiz question today. This is just it doesn't have to be about sailing. There's nothing more than just to get you thinking. That's all it is. What takes longer, a day or a year on the planet Venus? So what takes longer? Is it longer, a year longer, or a day longer on Venus? That's the simple
I've just
question.
watched a documentary on this, so I actually know this answer.
Oh, do you?
Answer.
Yeah.
Very good, me. Very good, me. High five again.
High five. Good work. All right, team. Big thanks to Nick Dana for coming on. It's a lot of effort to get it all sorted, and particularly with America's Cup sailor and a guy that busy. So we're extremely grateful. Boys, good fun to have you back. And looks like another day is over and done.
Bravo.
Bravo indeed.
Pleasure talking with you, lads.
See you, BP.
See you later.
Running at night, jet through the sea. Down the mountains roll a ladder me.